In the late 1990s, a journalist named Brian Bethel had an unnerving experience in his town of Abilene, Texas, where he works for the Abilene Reporter News, the local newspaper. Whether or not you believe his accounts of his experience, you should know that this is a real person. So at the very least, we know the premise of this scary urban legend is not a hoax. There is at least one person on the record, and a journalist no less, who claims that this happened to him. Brian posted about this unsettling encounter in a mailing list in 1998, but he has since stated that the actual event probably occurred in the summer of 1996. He was in the town of Abilene, sitting in his car and attempted using the light of a nearby building, a movie theatre, to try and write out a check to pay his internet provider. He hears someone tapping on the window on the driver's side. He looks up and sees two boys, neither of them older than about 16. They're dressed in hoodies, standing outside his locked car door. He rolls down the window, not sure what to expect, when the hairs on the back of his neck began to stand on end. An inexplicable dread-like fear grabbed hold of him. One of the boys begins to talk to Brian, and the boy explains that he and his friend need a ride, that they wanted to catch a movie but had left their cash at home and needed a ride to go and fetch it. While the conversation seemed innocent, the paralysed fear that Brian felt hadn't disappeared. In fact, the pit of dread in his stomach continued to expand. He couldn't understand why he was feeling this way, but he was terribly afraid. As the conversation continued, Brian glanced up at the theatre building. He saw that the last movie of the night had already begun. By the time he drove the two boys home and got back to the theatre, there wouldn't be a movie left for them to see. As Brian thought about this, the older boy, the one that was doing all the speaking, started to get more pushy. He was saying that they were just kids and that it wouldn't take long. He said that it's not like we are armed or anything. This last part only unsettled Brian even more. Despite his fears, he felt his hand going towards the lock on the car door. When he realised this, he yanked his hand away. He looked up at the boys to see if they had registered his hand movements, and that's when he claims his blood ran cold. Both the children had eyes that were fully black as pitch. No iris, no pupils. That's when Brian panicked. He muttered an apology, rolled up his window and drove away. As his car pulled away, the older boy knocked on his window with some force. Brian claims he then said the following.
We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in.
As Brian hurriedly drove away, he looked in his rearview mirror. The two boys were gone. Being a journalist, Brian recorded what he saw, which is why the accounts of his experience are so well preserved, even across different sources. After Brian's detailed and thorough recounting of his experience got buzz on the internet, there have been many more people come out of the woodwork who claim to have had similar experiences. Many of them share similarities. It always seems to be groups of two children, though they apparently aren't always two boys. They always seem to ask for help. Some people report that the children knock late at night and ask to use their restrooms. There is even one case of a Marine claiming that he had similar experience in his barracks. The children also seemed to constantly request that they be let inside. Whether it's a car, a house, or a military barracks, it seems they cannot enter where they aren't invited. It's unknown what actually happens if you let the black-eyed children in. Those who have done so may not be around to give us the details of their encounters. It may be that the entire thing is a hoax, but if that's the case, why would Brian Bethel, by all accounts a normal person and a successful journalist, put his reputation and credibility on the line by making up a story? I don't know for sure whether this creepy urban legend is true or not. On the other hand, I know exactly what to do if two young kids ever tap on my car window in the dead of night, asking for a ride. I won't even roll down my windows. The story of the Smiling Man is quite an unsettling one. This modern urban legend surfaced on the web about 2 years ago. The first sighting was posted on Reddit by a young man whose name we don't know. This reportedly happened in 2011 and is a basic recounting of this young man's experience. In his account of the story, the young man states that at the time he was living in a major city. It seems that it is now known that the city in question was Seattle. He describes himself as a night owl and says that he had gotten into the habit of frequently taking walks at night to pass the time, to clear his head. He had done this for close to 4 years and never had an issue, not even in the twilight hours. This is despite the fact that he lived in a major city. The encounter happened on a quiet night, and the street that the young man was walking on was basically divided of cars and other people. He had already been walking for some time, so he decided it was about time to turn round. As he turned round, he saw a silhouette of a stranger who appeared to be dancing. More specifically, it looked like he was waltzing. At the same time, he was slowly edging his way towards the younger man. Every 3 or 4 steps of the stranger's dance was punctuated with one step towards the storyteller. The young man decided that the stranger was probably drunk, and he gave the drunk stranger a wide berth and moved to the very edge of the sidewalk to avoid any interaction. As the stranger's silhouette became more and more visible in the dim city streets, the young man realised that this odd stranger was actually moving very gracefully, almost like a trained dancer, and was unlikely to be drunk. He noted that the stranger was unusually tall and lanky, and was wearing a faded suit. As this tall stranger came closer still, he stepped under a street lamp, and the young man finally caught a proper glimpse of his face. His head was tilted backwards, his eyes were wide open, looking upwards at the sky, and he had an unnaturally large, cartoonish grin on his face. The young man, clearly and very understandably unsettled by this odd stranger, decided to cross the street to avoid getting too close to this clearly deranged man. He crosses the road, and when he gets to the other side, he spots the stranger again, out of the corner of his eye on the other side of the street, directly opposite him, with the same expression, eyes wide open, head tilted upwards, ghoulish smile on his face. The young man starts to panic. He starts to walk at a brisk pace, all the while keeping his eyes on the stranger, who doesn't move from the spot that he's standing. Our storyteller glances forward only momentarily to get his bearings, and when he looks behind him again, he sees that the smiling man is looking straight at him from a crouch. The two of them are now on the same side of the street again. The young man is shocked at how fast the smiling man seems to move. He stands there in shock. The smiling man starts to tiptoe with large steps, like the ones cartoon characters do when they're trying to sneak around, except in this case the stranger is moving fast. For whatever reason, the storyteller doesn't just get out. He stands there and tries to scare the smiling man off by swearing at him. But apparently he was so tense that barely any sound escaped his throat. The smiling man at this point is half a block away from the storyteller, still smiling and half gazing at the sky with his head tilted backwards. At this point he slowly turned around and started dancing away, moving in the same way he was just before. The young man watched him intently as he faded in the distance. Just as his pulse was finally starting to slow down, he sees the distant silhouette getting larger and larger. The smiling man is not dancing anymore. He is running straight towards the storyteller. At this point, the young man basically bolts. He runs as fast as he can to an area where there were many more people and some car traffic. He gets home safely, but he says he no longer enjoys taking long walks at night. This account of the smiling man is in fact not the only one, although it was the first. In fact, there is a whole subreddit dedicated to the sightings of this strange, unsettling figure. As of yet, it's unclear. It's not totally clear who or what the smiling man is. He could just be a guy hopped up on some drugs, or an insane person. Who knows? Hi guys, Miss Night Terror here. I hope you enjoyed them two scary urban legends. The last one absolutely freaks me out. I don't even like the pictures. They are scary. What did you think? Oh, just imagine coming across somebody like that dancing down the street. Be a bit weird, that one. I am definitely shutting my windows now. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If you have any stories yourself and you want me to read them out, then email me. I am on Facebook, on Twitter and Google+. Share the videos with all your friends, that would help. And I'll see you soon. Bye.